So welcome to all of you. So I want to start with this big furore in the House of Commons today because, well, it was basically all about this show in a way because Keir Starmer opened up by attacking the Prime Minister about his admission to me that they failed to hit their waiting list targets. And then he went on to mock him about the bet that we made for charity over the Rwanda plan. But then things turned, what many think to be quite ugly, because the Prime Minister said this.
And it's a bit rich, Mr. Speaker, to hear about promises from someone who's broken every single promise he was elected on. I mean, I think I counted almost 30 in the last year. Pensions, planning, peerages, public sector pay, tuition fees, childcare, second referendums, defining a woman. Although in fairness, that was only 99% of a U-turn.
Of all the weeks to say that, when Brianna's mother is in this chamber, shame, parading as a man of integrity when he's got absolutely no responsibility.
Well, the contentious element of that is, of course, that Brianna Ghey's mother, Esther, was up in the gallery. Now, it turned out she wasn't there actually at the moment that this joke was made by the Prime Minister. He would say a pointed remark, making a point at Keir Starmer's expense. But Ava, it's caused a lot of furore, this, falling out, saying that it was very callous, inappropriate and so on. What's your view?
I'm really upset about it. I'm sad. I'm sad for her mother and I'm sad for every trans person in this country that had to witness that today. I think the worst...
For those who don't know, her mother was a transgender girl who was brutally killed by two complete psychos, and it was her daughter.
Yes, Brianna Ghey was killed, and she was a trans woman. But you know what's really upsetting about this is that we don't even afford trans people dignity in death. I think that the way that is going to now be marked in Hansard in the parliamentary book forever, I think that is shame on the country. And I'm sad to hear it.
James?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's utterly shameful. It's just disgusting. I'm so annoyed with Rishi Sunak. He has absolutely no backbone. In the same week that he made a lazy bet with the devil about refugees, he's now...
The devil? That's me.
Now made a joke. Exactly. He's now made a joke about another minority, and it's just disgusting.
Well, OK, you're not calling me the devil, for one. I don't have horns. But secondly, I don't know, Esther, I think I'm missing something here.
I think the thing is, can we get some perspective here? Rishi Sunak has made this comment about Keir Starmer being unable to define a woman many times. And to be
clear about the background to that, Keir Starmer spent most of the last 2 years
avoiding it.
Refusing to say what a woman was.
Exactly.
Then eventually saying women could have penises. Then he said, well, actually, 99% of women
don't have
a penis, meaning that 1% do.
And the one time that he chooses to defend himself, or is himself on his record, is the unfortunate time that Brianna Ghey's mother is in the comments. I'm sorry. Look, it was in poor taste given the circumstances, but at the end of the day, it's a very valid point.
No, it's not. It's in poor taste every day.
Because it's a very valid point. Because the thing is, this whole issue about trans rights doesn't just is not based on one thing. It's also based on women feeling their rights.
No. Let's just hear what you said.
But that's the point that's being made.
Trans rights.
These are politicians.
A right to exist.
Hang on.
Let's talk about. We've turned Westminster into a gossip fest.
Nobody is disputing that trans people have rights to fairness and equality.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
They are.
Here's what I'm disputing. I'm sorry, but it's 100% of women do not have a penis. Let's just start with a biological fact.
Can you imagine?
Right? This was not an attack on this poor woman who lost her daughter, had nothing to do with her whatsoever. This was an attack on Keir Starmer's inability to actually stand up for women's rights and to say unequivocally that women do not have a penis, which, by the way, is a fact. It is standing up for women's rights. The moment you try and pretend women have a penis, you are destroying women's rights.
Trans women are women.
No, they're not, okay?
Yes, they are.
And I'm sorry, unless you are, I don't know, an MMA fighter who's having your skull crushed.
A woman is a biological female. That's it.
You will not understand it. I'm sorry. Unless you're someone who's having your child, your female child having to share a bathroom with a biological man, you will never understand what it means for us to sit there and pretend like trans women.
I think when you're drilling it down to then you have to think about women that have had hysterectomies. Are they no longer women?
Let me bring in Pearl. I'm going to bring in Pearl, who's been waiting patiently. Pearl, across the pond. A lot of people clutching their pearls about all this, Pearl, ironically. But I just think that in the end, what Rishi Sunak did was, in a list of things that he claimed his opponent had made U-turns on, he made the completely valid point, if you take it in its isolation, that actually it was ridiculous to pretend that a percentage of women have a penis. And for that, he's now been branded transphobic. What do you think of that?
Well, number one, I can't believe you guys are grown adults arguing about what a woman is, or like, it blows my mind. Number two, I have family members that died of obesity. I still support people's right to make jokes about being fat. Life is hard, get over it. And number three, you know, I'm a semi-pro athlete here in the UK. You know, I play sports in London. And I've actually had to deal with some of the consequences of women's spaces being, you know, having men come in them. Wow. And like, you know, I had a tournament last spring where there was a whole team full of men, you know, just dressed up as women. So is that fair? You know,
I think I'd be more threatened by your recent tweet where you said that 16-year-old girls were hotter than 26-year-old women. If I was a woman and I saw that tweet and I saw you in a space, I'd be terrified.
Then why aren't you protesting the age of consent laws in the UK if you're really outraged? All you guys do is trying to find one thing out of context.
What does that have
And you're
to do?
changing the subject, really, when we're here to talk about,
so are you.
Is it all right for him to make jokes?
Well,
People can make jokes.
Well, he certainly wasn't. Here's the point.
making
Here's the point. He certainly wasn't trying to make a joke at the expense of this poor girl who got murdered, or with her mother there deliberately trying to score some point with her there. He was purely making the point, which he's made repeatedly, that when Keir Starmer can't say what a woman is, that is ridiculous. And I agree with him about that. And I'm not sure that the Prime Minister should be branded transphobic for not thinking that a woman has a penis.
Well, why do you think that? Would you not think that all of this narrative feeds into the hate that is in this country?
No, absolutely not.
Why do you not think that?
Because it's not hateful
Look at the high
to
suicide
state a
rate
biological.
that there is amongst trans people.
Ava,
Where do you
it is
think
not
that
hateful.
stems from?
I have always supported, for example, trans people's rights to fairness and equality. Always, right? I've been repeatedly called transphobic myself for thinking that a 6'4" biological male who becomes a trans woman athlete and starts demolishing biological females in a swimming pool and breaks all records or wants to be on the Olympic team, depriving a woman of a place and so on, that I think that is ridiculous.
But that exaggeration has got nothing to do with Brianna.
I'm supporting and defending women's rights. Similarly, Rishi Sunak thinks it is absurd that a political leader in this country should think that any woman has a penis.
Can I pose to you?
And he's right.
Can I pose to you that it's quite possible that Rishi Sunak is a terrible politician and he didn't even understand the attack line that he delivered today, that was given to him.
Well, I'm not sure. Well, half of his party didn't understand it. Kemi Badenoch said this: every murder is a tragedy. We can all agree. None should be trivialised by political point scoring. As a mother, I can imagine the trauma that Esther Ghey has endured. It was shameful of Starmer to link his own inability to be clear on the matter of sex and gender directly to her grief.
And that's the point. Here's the issue. We have turned Westminster into a gossip fest because Rishi Sunak has made this point about Keir Starmer's inability to talk about what a woman is for literally months. And we all understood it. But suddenly, when there's an opportunity to score cheap political points and to make the link between that and this poor lady, Brianna Ghey's mother, suddenly we're now all outraged by it. This is not the first time Rishi Sunak has said it, and we know it. But because we've decided to turn our politicians from actual politicians who have a job to do to basically reality stars, we're feigning ignorance over the real issue, and that's.
Well, to be honest, it's a bit like the bet which you said was with the devil. All right, ha ha. Maybe I should get all hurt and upset about you calling me the devil. My sensitive little skin can't deal with it.
You're not a minority.
You're likening me
like
to the most evil creature ever created.
A made-up
I'm so
creature.
distressed, James. I want to burst into tears and take you to some human resources committee meeting. Not. Right? I don't care. You can have a laugh at my expense. It's fine, mate. We used to be able to do it and get away with it without being arrested. I am a minority.
No, you're not.
I'm a middle-aged white bloke still on TV.
And these are the words of the Prime
left.
Minister. They have an effect on real people.
Yes, they do.
Why weren't you
but
this
only when you
outraged last
deliberately, wrongly, disingenuously conflate two completely different things. Then they do.
Also, I think it's very odd, that tweet from Kemi, where she's saying it's wrong to make jokes about murders, but you can clearly make jokes and score political points about a minority.
No, she said it's unfair, it's not right, it's immoral to draw a link between a point that Rishi Sunak has made for literally months and then to try and link that because the fact that Brianna Ghey's mother was in the comments.
But she has some nerve when she's the one who introduced the trans guidance in December, which means
that's called being a politician. That's her job.
OK, look, we've got to bring an end to this part of the debate.